Hello viewers, you're watching India Today Global with me, Ishita Mitra, and today we are going to focus on a development that honestly viewers is not shocking and has once again exposed Pakistan, the terror state. It has raised serious questions about Pakistan's priorities at this juncture amid its economic crisis. Now in the latest development, we are getting to know that Pakistan's Federal Minister Rana Tanveer Hussain recently visited Muridke, one of the 9 terror bases hit by India in its Operation Sindoor, and this was to announce plans to rebuild the LashkerToba Headquarters, also called as Markaz-e-Toiba, and this is the headquarters which got destroyed during India's Operation Sindoor, and now it's going to be rebuilt at the government's expense. So viewers, you see this pledge made on behalf of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Pakistan's radicalized Islamist general Asim Munir has once again exposed Pakistan. It has sparked widespread concern both within the region and also internationally. We've seen, ever since the tensions broke out between the two countries, Pakistan has been coming out and saying that it itself is a victim of terrorism, and then it goes ahead and makes this announcement. Now, to understand the gravity of this announcement, let's first set the context. Muridke holds immense strategic and symbolic significance when it comes to terror infrastructure in Pakistan. It is home to the LashkerToba Headquarters, a terrorist organization responsible for some of the deadliest attacks on Indian soil, and this includes 2008 Mumbai attacks that claimed over 160 lives. Now, LashkerToba operates training camps and logistical networks from Muridke, so this makes it a critical hub for terror activities that are directed against India. Hundreds of volunteers are recruited from across the Pakistan, even from Kashmir. They are brought here right to this hub, and they're trained, and terror activities are planned at this hub. Now, this hub, when we talk about its geography, it is said to spread over 200 acres of land, making it one of the largest terror facilities in not just Pakistan but across the world. If you look at its history, it was established in late 1980s by Hafiz Mohammad Saeed, the founder of LashkerToba, and this was from support from Pakistan's inter-service intelligence and also funding from external sources. And now again, Pakistani establishment and the army have come to its support. They're doing what they do the best. They're supporting terror activities like they've always been doing. Now remember viewers, in response to persistent cross-border terrorism from Pakistan and with Pahalgam being the triggering point, India had launched Operation Sindoor in early May. It was a precise tri-service strike targeting about 9 terror camps and multiple military installations across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Remember viewers, initially India did not aim to hurt military installation or damage them, but it was Pakistan who retaliated after India struck terror camps in the country, and therefore India had to go ahead and also do some damage to the perpetrators, the sponsors of terrorism in Pakistan. Now, when we talk about this site, Muridke was one of the primary targets, with Indian strikes destroying key LashkerToba infrastructure and also disrupting their operational capabilities. As I mentioned before, that this is where they plan the terror attacks, this is where they recruit people, train them. So therefore, India had to do considerable damage to the very root, to the very structure of this terror network. And even when we conducted the operation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi described Operation Sindoor as the new normal, signaling a shift towards proactive and preemptive counter-terrorism measures, saying that, listen, if Pakistan will continue doing this, then India will not sit back and relax. India will take a measure, and that will not just include terror groups but also their sponsors. It is going to make absolute no difference between Pakistan and the terror groups, and therefore this operation was aimed at dismantling terror networks before they can strike Indian civilians. It was preemptive and calculated. And the main targets of the strikes were the jihadist structures of Jaish-e-Mohammed and LashkerToba, two deadliest terror organizations that have conducted multiple terror attacks against India over the years. And therefore, the strikes that India conducted were widely regarded as a significant blow to Pakistan's terror infrastructure, with independent assessments also confirming damage to multiple camps and air bases in Pakistan. And therefore, now they are going to rebuild the LashkerToba headquarters. And if you see, India's decisive action in this regard underscored its commitment to national security and also its intolerance for cross-border terrorism, saying that India will no longer tolerate cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. However, if you see what Pakistan is doing and its recent decision to rebuild LashkerToba Headquarters in Murid, it has raised serious questions. This is a country that's grappling with an economic crisis. This is a country that goes ahead on global stage and says that, listen, we are a victim of terrorism. We are not the ones who are sponsoring this. And then it goes ahead and makes such an announcement. Remember, this announcement comes at a time when Pakistan has just secured about $2 billion bailout from the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and this was to stabilize its economy. If you look at the condition of the economy of Pakistan, it's under immense strain with inflation soaring, foreign reserves dwindling, and then at this time the IMF bailout was a lifeline. It was supposed to restore macroeconomic stability and ensure, that more foreign investments come in the country. But then you have an announcement like this, where Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and the Army Chief have pledged to rebuild the terror hub at their personal expense. So remember, this is what Pakistani taxpayers are paying for, to rebuild terror hubs in the country. Federal Minister Rana Tanveer Hussein's visit to Murid was also marked by assurances that the government would fully finance the reconstruction, emphasizing that the LashkerToba headquarters is vital to Pakistan's security and strategic interests. So when a state like Pakistan, attaches so much importance to such terror camps, terror hubs, we only know, we can understand the priority of the nation at large. And therefore, this rhetoric has been met with condemnation from India, from the international community, because they view it as Pakistan's continued support for terror groups, and it is exactly like that. And analysts have also warned that rebuilding such infrastructure not only undermines peace efforts that have been going between the two countries. We've seen, the DGMO level talks have been conducted between the two countries. So this announcement not only undermines those peace efforts, but also risks further destabilizing an already volatile region. Because when the tensions broke out between the two countries, we've seen a lot of international leaders coming out and, asking the two countries to de-escalate. Now, how does this process help in de-escalation is the right question to ask at this juncture. Critics have also argued that Pakistan's dual approach, seeking international financial aid on one hand and at the same time nurturing terror groups, damages its credibility, which I feel like it's not even there anymore, and further it complicates diplomatic relations. India, of course, remains steadfast in its resolve, and it's going to hit back at terror sponsors if and when required. And following Operation Zinduri, Indian officials have reiterated their commitment to dismantling terror networks, and they've also warned that Pakistan, with any attempt to rebuild such infrastructure, will be met with further action. And the Indian government also continues to push for international recognition of Pakistan as a state sponsor of terrorism, leveraging evidence of its support for terror groups like LashkerToba. We've seen that, India recently dragged Pakistan to UNSC, saying that the group that conducted the Pahalgam attack, an offshoot of LashkerToba, TRF, should be declared a terror organization. So India is making all the efforts it can on the global stage and also bilaterally, diplomatically, to make sure that Pakistan should be punished for what it does, that is, sponsors terrorism. It gives safe haven to terror groups, and now the announcement has just proven the fact that Pakistan is a terror state and it continues to support the terror groups in whatever ways it can. So thank you so much, viewers, for watching this with me, Ishita Mitra. Stay tuned to India Today Global, where we simplify geopolitics for you.